Okay, well, it's a great honor, and I'm really thrilled to introduce our next keynote speaker. You're in for a great treat. As the CEO of the Middleby Corporation, Selim Bassoul has led the company to record-breaking revenues and the development of top innovation over the past 2 decades. Under his leadership, Middleby has grown from $100 million and a few brands to over $3 billion, a global powerhouse, 60-plus brands, 3 business platforms. Many of you recognize these brands: Viking, AGA, Petco. And I think today the number is pretty staggering, but 1 out of every 3 restaurants worldwide uses Middleby brands in their commercial kitchens. Selim's proven, effective, unconventional management style has been featured in the Wall Street Journal, Fortune, Forbes, CNBC, and a number of other top business media. He was named, this is my favorite, he was named the Motley Fool's Best CEO of All Time by founder Tom Gartner. In 2016, he was recognized with the first ever Ernst & Young World Entrepreneur of the Year Humanitarian Award. The company has also been one of the best performing companies on the NASDAQ exchange for the past 15 years and a Forbes Best Small Company for 8 consecutive years. And what I love most is giving back is central in Selim's life, primarily through his work in the Bassoul Dignity Foundation. It's a great honor to have him here. I'm excited personally to hear more about his foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the CEO of the Middleby Corporation, Mr. Selim Bassoul. Come on up here, Selim.
Dave?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well,
you know, quick story. It was similar to a number of these things. It was like, look, we know Middleby is just on the forefront of this food service equipment that is so important to us. And we'd heard about Selim because the results and what you've done, the metrics are just incredible. And it just speaks to who you are, because it was like, hey, could we get to him? Would he get, I didn't really know Middleby very well. The reputation had no relationship with Selim. Boy, he got on that phone. He spent 2 hours, I think, talking about this. And in that time, it just went right to, again, how do we make a difference in the world? So, ladies and gentlemen, Selim Bassoul.
Dave, thank you. Your persistence got me here. I know that you've all worked very hard, and we want to thank you. I think this conference has been amazing for us, for my team. And I have to first congratulate your organization, your staff, for putting together a fantastic, fantastic conference. Can we have a round of applause for Winsight? David?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The stage is yours.
I want to also thank the audience for taking time to listen to me. And listen, literally, what you could think of me as a CEO of the largest food equipment company, you would think Nigel Travis and Bill Mitchell from Dunkin' Donuts would expect me to speak about speed cooking. Susan Greco from Subway, a customer of ours, would think about talking about ventless. Mohammed Khalifa of Americana would expect me to speak about oil sensors in our fryers. Jack Cohen, Competitive Foods. I don't know if Jack, you're here or not. Jack, you will expect me to speak about robotics and automation and pizza oven and all that. But I'm taking this platform today to speak about something very, very different. I want to speak about, literally, the velocity of goodness. What is velocity? What does velocity mean? It means it's about a movement. It's about taking actions, doing something now. Velocity of goodness. How did this all start? Why did I come here to Dubai to speak about this versus our great company? Because I had been, like you, trying to figure out a way to give back. It's in our nature as human beings to try to be kind, to give back. So, how did it all start? It started when I grew up in Beirut, Lebanon. We didn't come from a wealthy family. I ended up going to the American University of Beirut. The Civil War just broke out while I just started university. When it broke out, my father lost his job, and I didn't know if I could continue being able to study. And then somebody said, there is something called the David Dodge Scholarship. David Dodge is an American who provided scholarship for people like you who need a bridge, who need a second chance to stay at college and graduate, as long as you get good grades. Throughout the whole, my 3-4 years at AUB, I got a David Dodge scholarship. So then, I researched David Dodge. So David Dodge, in 1900, decided to come to Lebanon and give that scholarship. He gave all his money he made back to the university. So I thought about it, I said, why would somebody, remember, I'm 20 years old, why would somebody give all his money, he worked all his life, to go give it back to a university that he's never known in 1900? He must have either no family, or he must be an idiot. That's what I thought. But it stayed with me. I said, there must be something more to it. And then, I moved away from this, and I kept thinking about it. 10 years ago, I met his great-grandson, Peter Dorman, in Chicago. He's at University of Chicago. And I said, Peter, what was about David Dodge? He said, Selim, he wanted to impact thousands of people. And we're very proud of his legacy. So all this happened, and I kept on thinking about this, and we all gave charity. I bet you if I ask a raise of hand, how many of you have helped a neighbor, a family friend, a charity, or you gave part of your income every month to charity? Can you raise your hand? Everybody. I am one of them. I did that, but that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something bigger. I wanted to do something bigger, and I couldn't find it because I'm busy at work. And then one day, I'm sitting at home, in the comfort of my home, in Dallas, Texas, and I watch the refugees. I watch about the refugees being displaced from their homes in Syria. When I thought about it, I said, I'm sure a lot of people are helping. United Nations, NGOs are helping. Then I went back home to my country, Lebanon, on vacation. And I was basically in Beirut, very posh city, right on the water, eating, enjoying life. And then my mind and my thought went to something happening an hour drive away. In the Bekaa Valley, an hour away from Beirut, there is 1.5 million refugees. I told people I want to go visit them. What was the reaction, you think? I'm a CEO of a publicly traded company. I'm Christian. Syrians have not been kind to Christians over the years. I'm going up, or the Syrian government, not the Syrian. I'm going up to the Bekaa Valley. My parents said, you're crazy. My father, 90 years old, he said, no, you should not go. Every friend said no. I decided to drive in a car and drove up to the Bekaa Valley. I didn't know what to say. I got there, I stayed for 3 days. I watched people like me, like every one of you, grandparents, children, women, totally vulnerable and displaced by no choice of theirs. So I listened to their needs, I sat with them, like I did in a business, like I did in my kitchen, and if I go to any customer's kitchen, look at what they are doing, what they're not. What did I find out? Let's see what I found out. Let's roll the video.
Life in Syria was similar to lives in any other country, and people going about their daily jobs in peace, whether tending to their shops, or spending time with loved ones, or just farming. In 2011, civil war broke out, and they were displaced from their homes, and they became refugees. I couldn't stay silent. I felt a moral obligation to act. During a recent visit to my native country, Lebanon, I saw the escalating number of refugees and their dire situation.
ونحن مرفوضين لا أمم ولا شيء ما بتجينا مساعدة خالص
ما بتجي المساعدة أبدا. We need to change impact of life. We need to make lives easier. عندك تقريبا 15 مليون عائلة. 80% نسوان وبنات بروحوا بجيبوا الحطب ويعملوا الأكل راح نهارهم. يعني البنات ما هم بيدرسوا والنسوان ما هم بيعملوا شيء قاعدين جوا.
As I gathered evidence of ways to help, one idea started to take form in my mind. Using our core competency, we should create an oven, a unique oven. So I sat down with my engineering team at Middleby to come up with a fast solution.
So beyond cooking, the appliance can charge a cell phone through heat transfer, not using electricity. The goal is to free the lives of women and girls by allowing them to find time to go to school and find decent employment instead of spending hours searching for wood to cook.
ضل كل نهار لجمع كومة حطب، بتفت حطب، بتولع، بتطبخ.
Speed matters, but the most important speed is the velocity of goodness. I would say to the world, even if it is in a very small way, rush to be good.
I have watched this video maybe 100 times and I still choke about it because really what you see is people are vulnerable. It could have been my parents. It could have been me. It could be any of you. So when I came back to Middleby, I had done my research and I said, I want to do exactly what I would do if I was designing a pizza oven for Jack or a turbo chef for Duncan or Baskin Robbins or a fryer for any. I wanted to give them the best I could. So we came back, and I've been there many, many times, and I decided to do the following. I told my engineers, the oven should look like it should not tip because the floor wasn't, the ground wasn't level. It has to be intuitive. That means we did not have to teach those people how to do it. They should understand how it works. It has to be durable. And it has to be able to get into a tent and not choke them in smoke. In the winters, there is snow in Lebanon, in the Bekaa Valley, and we need to make that happen. But the biggest thing I wanted to do, I wanted to use the fact that heat generated electricity. Because what I found out is that they did not have electricity and they couldn't charge the phone. Or if they did, they had to pay $40 a month to get one light bulb. So, as you see in this video, there's 60 million refugees. What was more shocking to me, as I did the research, how many people in the world rely on open fires to cook? Anybody has a number? I hear numbers, 200 million, 3 billion people around the world use open fires. They spend, and you know how many of them are how many of them are women and girls fetching wood for the open fire, you think? How many of you think it's 50%? Raise your hand. Correct? It's more. It's 100%. And they are the most vulnerable. So I watch them. When I was there, they would leave and they go out for 8 hours looking for wood. And they come back. Some of the wood is wet, it didn't work. So I came back and I said, let's do something where it uses almost very little wood and it charges the phone. So I'm going to show you some interesting stuff here. So now I can put that here. It's solar, and it charges by heat. So you can see, we can do that. So this is not charged, but once it's charged, it works. Then I was able to also charge their phone. In addition, I wanted to make sure water was a big issue. So we created a water purification system. So using a straw, you could basically create a water purification system. It was light, easy to carry with them. They can keep it on. We create that. It has 26 patents on this oven. Now, the biggest thing that was interesting, how much costs the oven? How much do you think is the cost? It heats generation, it charges your phone, it uses one piece of paper, will basically keep on cooking for 20 minutes. It cost us $100. That was the key. I could have gone, brought camping stoves. I could have gone, bought camping stove. I could have gone, and you can put it in a tent. It has a catalytic converter. So you use the Turbo Chef technology to create a catalytic converter. So when I gave thousands of them to the camps, is there anybody from Coca-Cola here? Can you stand up? Oh, quite a few people. What does this, everybody tells me what was this about. They looked like a Coca-Cola can. Everybody looks at me and said, so in the camp, the boys, the children, the girls, the young children say, oh, you took a Coca-Cola can and stretched it. So it has an interesting appeal for, it has this color in the Coca-Cola. I could have put Coca-Cola on this. And so, so this is interesting what happened with this. So again, I used the same thing I used in my company to create that oven, and it's been very, very successful. Now let's go to the next step. The next step is why I'm busy. I'm a CEO, we have 10,000 employees, $3 billion company, all over the world. We're the largest food equipment manufacturer in the world. Why can I have time to do this? Why don't I write a check? I can write a check. I have a foundation, the foundation can write a check. I decided I wanted to do it on my own because I thought of David Dodge, but I met a man who had a big impact on my life because I met him many, many times. As he saw my career grow, I met him the first time in 1997. He could barely talk. He could barely move. And he said to me, Selim, your time on earth is very short. There's not much time. You will see your life go by very quickly. And he told me many times, giving back to others or doing good to others is the price, is the rent you pay for your room on earth. Is the rent you pay for your room on earth. Doing good to others is the rent you pay for your room on earth. That man was Muhammad Ali. God bless his soul. He reminded me many, many times. So between David Dodge and Muhammad Ali, I thought I'm going to do something that impacts a lot more than this. Now, let's talk about us. I'm not asking you here to help me anyway. I didn't come up. Our foundation is 100% funded by me and my wife and my family. I want zero money from anybody. I don't want you to buy a single stove. I'm taking care of this. Tell you why I'm here. Because you're like me. It's velocity. The needs are big. The action is now. At least for me as a Middle Easterner, I've seen the refugees. It's a problem that affects my country, it affects our neighborhood, it's our region, and I want to help. But there are other needs that happen. Now, let me step back and tell you something. Look at my gray hair. I'm an old dog. I'm an old dog. I don't learn new tricks. I couldn't go back and do a lot of stuff. I'm not going to go and do new stuff. I wanted to do something that was natural to me. So the oven was part of our core competency. I didn't hope to come and become a computer programmer to do this. So what I did, I did exactly what I did if I had to go and find a new customer. I listened to the customer, visited their kitchen, and ultimately used the resource of our company and inspired our people to create that oven. I think each one of you I challenge you to go back to doing what you could do using your core competency. Think of me, old dog. I'm not learning new tricks. This is what we've done here to make it happen. So I think of us together, we need to change the world. The biggest impact I have has been to change the world, so I love this. I think David Dodge, he's dead. He was dead before I went to American University of Beirut. He was long dead, and he still impacted my life through his grant and his impact at the American University of Beirut. I think of Muhammad Ali, he's dead now, but if he saw what I did, unfortunately I could not get him, he would be here. He would have flown to Dubai to see this, because that's what he wanted me to do. So as I was researching the difference between philanthropy and charity, I thought about another person called John Rockefeller, and he wrote something interesting. The best philanthropy is constantly in the search of the finalities, a search for a cause, an attempt to cure at the source. He said the difference between charity and philanthropy is charity is helping one at a time. Philanthropy is helping hundreds and thousands at a time. So, as I turned this out, this is my story, this is my journey, it's new, it inspires me, it inspired all our employees, and we're happy to see that. You want to see robots, you want to see 3D printing, you want to see all sensors, we have a booth up there. I want to challenge you to think out of the box and do what we've done on charity and philanthropy. Let's help those refugees, let's help the most vulnerable among us to become dignified again, to give them dignity again. On this, I'm done with my presentation. I wanted to ask questions. I want you to give me input. I want you to help me think through what else can we do? What else can I do? I did the oven, what else can I do? So from this, I'm going to open up to questions and answers. And there is a microphone that's coming around the rooms. So anybody who has a question for me, I'm here to answer it. There are microphones coming your way. Well, I can come your way. You can listen to my microphone. Through my microphone, I'm coming in. Here, let's hug each other, and then you can. Faisal, here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, can you hear Faisal?
I wanted to know what was the reception of the refugees regarding the oven, and is there any way to update it or to change it to make it much more better for them as well?
Okay, very good question. So when we did the first iteration, so the question was, how did we get to this? So we had done 3 or 4 different types of ovens, and the first oven that I did not have basically the charging of the electricity on the phone. The other thing that we found out on the first oven, it was not round. It was not a Coca-Cola looking, another ad for Coca-Cola. It was not a Coca-Cola looking. It was a square box. And the problem is, the ground there, since they are in makeshift tents, it tends to flip. The third thing is this last thing that was very important to them. This was added last. What is this? Bread. So this was added, and you know how difficult was it to add this? This was most probably as difficult as the oven. Why? Because there's no more oxygen coming through when you put that. And we were using very little wood. To heat this, we had to change our whole combustion system to be able to heat that thick metal piece in one piece of wood or one piece of paper. This most probably by itself had 3 patents on it. Our engineers were so frustrated because I came back and I said, because originally I delivered that oven, and then they said, but how can I do bread? Which is most probably, if you're in the restaurant business, bread is important. So they need bread, they need dough, so we created this. This was the next iteration. The other iteration was the size of the pot. So we had to make sure that the size of pot was the right thing, and it did not tip. It has an anti-tipping, so those are the type of thing we had. Any other question?
We have a question on your left.
Hello, Salim.
Hi.
First of all, congratulations for this, and God bless you for your initiative. While you were presenting this, a question came in my mind. I come from India, and a lot of remote villages in my country, they do not have that much of a wood issue. I mean, it's not a refugee problem, but they have a lot of issues with electricity. So this stove of yours, and because you already have a system in place where the heat can get converted into electricity, is there any plan of enhancing this and being a source of light?
Okay, the question is, how can I use this to be a source of light? So what we've done is, through the heat transfer, I can do one light bulb and charge the phone. But if I took this unit here and made it without the heat, just on solar, I'm trying to get that. If I took this on solar alone, I could basically charge 3-4 light bulbs. I am restricted on heat because of the size of the oven and because we use very little wood to basically able to do one light bulb and one phone charger. But if you took that and put it outside, you could almost do 3-4 light bulb, LED lights, you could almost push to 6 or 7 and charge your phone. So the Vikram organization in India contacted me. Are you familiar with Vikram? It's the largest organization in India in terms of working with those villages. Contacted my foundation, which is the Bassoul Dignity Foundation, for those ovens. So we're in the process of shipping. So we've been working with, right now, the places we have those ovens are Lebanon, Jordan, Turkey. We have in Kenya, Malaysia, and India will be our next one. So we're going to be shipping that to India. So, any other question? Okay, the water purification disease. Now, of course, we're not asking, this is not a complete, we're not generating, this is not a water issue. The water we did was the water. What I found out, why I added the water purification. So that's another question that came back to the first question of the gentleman over there. There was no water purification on this. Why did I add water purification? Because they pay for the water. In the refugee camp, they are paying for water. As you see them in the video, children are going back and they cut them off. At a certain time, there is no water. And the water is not clean. So what they needed to do, in order to boil rice, they needed to be able to pull enough water to boil rice. So what this does, it's not to basically go out and feed to get water. It was enough to fill that pot. So our water purification system is enough to fill a pot to do rice. Because sometimes they could not wait to boil the water. So what they did is they used this to basically get a cup of tea that's not boiled, or to give what you call for children. This allows you to give a baby bottle of milk, all clean water. First, go ahead. Yeah, let me use my microphone. Here's this.
Okay, we have time for one more question. Go ahead, boss.
I'm Syrian, actually, and I would like to thank you on behalf of the whole Syrian nation, first of all. Second of all, I thought that, this oven is good for the eight cold months of the year. Can it be also used during the hot months of the year, or can it be developed to give cold air somehow during the hot months of the year?
That's a fantastic question. Well, marhaba b'Suriya. So, I have to say that this oven heats. So you could use it as a heat because it has a catalytic converter, so you can put it in a tent and heat. it becomes what we call, in Syria, you use sobia. So this became a sobia, and that was again what we did. So this became a heating element in the winter. It has a catalytic converter, which means it takes all the wood burning here is captured through a catalytic converter that's sitting in here from our ventless technology at Middleby. So there is a catalytic converter that captures most of the smoke and the heat, or the carbon monoxide. So on this, David, come back to the stage. I think
yes, it will be my pleasure. Well, I think we know why you were the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year, right?
Well,
I mean, making a
thank
difference
you.
like that, right?
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
So very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You know, I just have to say, too, Selim, I just loved what you said, that helping others on earth is the rent you pay for your room on earth. That's a great quote, huh? Great quote. So how about another round of applause for Selim?
Well,
I know you're going to be around.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So
Thank
much.
you, David. Thank you.